Black Science TV 111, Osei Kufuor. I'm back at y'all again. I'm coming to talk about things pertaining to race. Because I feel that the biggest game that we could have ever played was religion and race. Those two things there, those two components, is the biggest game that we could have ever played. It's religion and race. Why do I say that? Because when we sit here and we think about what we are, who we are, where we come from, where we're going, and where do we exist, these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Because a lot of the people in the so-called conscious community, we talk about the ancestors, but what we fail to talk about is the things that the ancestors talked about among each other. Our ancestors didn't sit back for hundreds of years talking about who built the pyramids. Our ancestors didn't sit back for hundreds of years and talk about who was the oldest. But our ancestors understood that their history surpassed this physical dimension. They understood that. Let's make that clear. Somebody conditioned us and told us that we were a group of people living in one diaspora of this matrix, and that we were the oldest people in the matrix. Think about what I'm saying. If anybody, or for anybody to come to you and tell you that you're the oldest, you have to stop and think. The question should be the oldest where? Because you have to ask, you're not going to eat just anything somebody put in front of you without asking the ingredients. You might have a negative reaction. So the question should be the oldest where and the oldest why. Where do we exist right now? We are on a third dimensional plane that we call the matrix. So they don't care. The people that's at the top that know what I'm telling you, they know everything that I'm telling you. Out of everything that I say in my videos and everything that's in my book, reincarnation through our DNA, the planes of existence, they know all of this. Why? Because they got that from our ancestors. They knew how to study the astrological clock to tap into certain dimensions, to bring back information through our ignorance. And they are using our emotions to tap into this. Every time a holiday or a so-called holiday come before us, these are not holidays in remembrance of certain things that they put into law. These are days where certain portals open up, and they can utilize certain energies of emotions through people by way of stress and fear to tap into certain things. Our ancestors knew that they exist in many places at one time. Our ancestors knew that we were only thoughts and ideas from minds that exist in bodies that we truly are apart from this dimension. Don't you know that you have another you that exists that could be daydreaming, creating your event in life right here where you are right now? Think about it. You have another you. I ain't talking about the image that look like you, but I'm talking about intelligence that exists somewhere else that could be daydreaming, making this event where you are right now come alive, creating your storyline right here on this third dimensional plane. So we settle for something called Africa. Let's touch on that for a minute. We settle on something that's called Africa. Why? Even if I was to discuss us being physical beings, why would you want to be or claim a small part of the earth or globe, which is not really the globe anyway? Another subject for another day. But why would you want to actually claim a part of the globe that's only 10% of the universe? Remember, the universe is a mind. Is this why you're thinking on 10% of your brain? Is this why we can't elevate into a higher consciousness to tap into certain ancestors such as the stars like the Dogon did? Because we are thinking with 10% of our mind, because we think that we are 10% of a culture that is existing on a globe that's a matrix within an illusion? I'm sorry to say, but we look ignorant. We look foolish out here saying we black power or we Africans. we should all feel ignorant. Think about it. If that was so much of a threat to them, why haven't they moved on y'all yet? If screaming black power and marching with guns was so much of a threat to them, why didn't they move? Why haven't they moved on y'all yet? If marching with flags was so much of a threat, why haven't they moved on y'all yet? It's a shame that we feel psychologically that we are thinking for ourselves when in actuality we are not. Many of you may say, well, I'm thinking for myself, but unconsciously, a large number of us are really not. Why? Because we are playing the game that was put before us before we were born into this dimension. This is a game. Race is a game. Religion is a game. All of it is a game. Do you know how large or do you know how far your mind expands out of this dimension? Apart from a culture? Don't you know that your soul can never be titled with a culture? Don't you know that your soul can never be titled with even an existence that was set up by a man who taught teachers to teach you? A lot of our teachers that came before us really didn't know. But it's not their fault. They were only teaching us the things that was taught to them. And you acting like we can't make mistakes or the elders could not make mistakes. This is not a disrespectful video to the elders. They did what they could. They brought some truth. But even throughout the things that was taught to us, it's up to you to go into the bowl of truth that's mixed with a lot of things that was taught with that truth and take out those bones. What I see before me in this world or this dimension is a people who have lost their spirituality. Because if we were spiritual, or if we were resonating on the spiritual frequency like we once were, then we would go beyond the language or even the vision of the information that they have fed us and forced on us here in this dimension that we call the matrix. You don't have an image. I'm going to say that again. You do not have an image. An image is an illusion. An image is something that was created by way of a thought on a certain frequency to suppress your megahertz. We are like blank memory. But you can take certain information and download it into that memory. And you will become the information that whoever the oppressor is wants you to become when they download their agenda into your memory. We have lost our way. We have lost our way because we have lost our common sense. And since we have lost our common sense, what we truly are has now taken a whole 360 turn out of the cosmos. You are more than an African. You are more than a culture. Chinese don't exist. Japanese don't exist. Black, white, blue, green, orange, that shit don't exist. This is all set up as an agenda to keep every single one of us from seeing what we truly are. They don't care about you worshiping the physical as long as they control the thoughts, which is your spiritual. It's just like the Rothschilds said, we don't care about you taking over politics and laws as long as we take over the currency, which is money. And money is what? Currency. Currency is energy. Current. And energy runs in a currency flow. So this is a processed spiritual element that they are using to trade you for your natural spiritual element, which is your thoughts. Your thoughts is money. And I ain't talking about some green paper. Your thoughts can be money. It can make you very rich in a way where it could bring you peace. Peace is $1 billion. And you got enough peace to give to every single person in your environment by putting them on a frequency that is beyond this physical dimension. I don't teach that we're Africans no more because I'm not that. I don't teach that I'm black no more because I'm not that. I'm not anything that a man made up by way of language. Because I know I existed somewhere before I came here that was on a higher frequency than language. Study the language of the stars. Yeah, they may use languages by way of rhythms and vibrations, but they will never attach these languages to their self. Never. They only use it to control the constellational environment that we call civilizations in the sky. And you are a part of those civilizations in the sky. But we have disconnected ourselves from the civilizations in the sky by allowing somebody else to take us down. That's why they call it fallen angels. The angel represents the spiritual citizen of the spiritual civilization in the sky. You fell from angels to man. And now you're running around here calling yourself man, when you connected to something much bigger than that. It's time to wake up. And again, I repeat, there is no paperwork on this earth plane that can make you sovereign. There is no paperwork that can free you. You are never going to somebody else's house and tell them that you're going to use their laws against them, and they allow you to have the upper hand over them. You will never be able to do that. Never. Sovereignty comes in mind, because you can use your mind to make certain things around you disappear if you're using it right. But if you're around certain objects and beings and people who is on a low frequency, then they will allow this environment to exist to oppress you. But as long as you can get to yourself and master your mind, become that mastermind again, like your ancestors, then you will be able to magically make the city that you are in disappear. And you will be able to place yourself in the same city with a different frequency. Trust and believe what I'm saying. There's nothing around you more powerful than you. But because you allow the things around you to exist, then they have power over you, especially when they have an agenda against you. It's time to wake up. Not here. Don't wake up to the matrix. I used to say it's time for us to wake up. But it's time to wake up to the real environments, the real spiritual environments where we really exist. Because you're not here. You are only being projected. Your images is projected through your physical brain, which causing this image of this environment to exist. But there's many other civilizations and worlds within you. And because you have your own world and civilizations, you have your own truth and your own path. And because you have your own truth and your own path, you have your own destiny. What are dimensions? Dimensions is energy that is shaped and molded into images. This is what you call 3D. Now, if you take a piece of paper and you keep folding it, and you fold it and you fold it, what happens is when you unfold that one sheet of paper, you will see many squares within that one single piece of paper. These are reflections and images of that one sheet of paper. This is the many lifetimes that is existing within that one sheet of paper. Now, we're going to connect that to how we exist. Now, we are living in other lifetimes. We have been folded, and when you fold light and density, we are light beings. Light beings, we are consciousness and intelligence. When you fold light, the density becomes more deeper. So the deeper the density, the more the reflection of that image which is inside of that density. So you don't really look like the person that you see when you look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? You've just been folded over and over and over into the form of third dimensional light beings. And so the density is probably not deeper, but it's more of a reflection of something that you are more conscious of as far as two physical eyes. Physical things. So your physical eyes is more of your oppressor than your mind. because you are the mind, remember. So the two physical eyes is the oppressor of the mind. Again, this is what you are. Now, when we die here, some people leave this dimension, and if they leave it too fast, they can die and not even know that they're dead. So if I wake up tomorrow and if I die in my sleep, but I left that part of my mind that made me conscious to this third dimensional plane, if I leave it too fast, my energy travel too fast, I will get stuck in between dimensions, and I will wake up in another dimension inside of my house where I'm asleep at and continue to live my life out without even knowing that I passed away. Some of us have died and not even know that we died, and we waking up to continue to live the life that we live and the life that we passed away from. This is only for my third eye openness now. And now I want to touch on the numbers. A lot of people saying that they see in numbers. So I'm going to go more in depth into the jurisdiction of what numbers is. Now, if you are seeing the number 11, which a lot of people are seeing, right? This is a good thing because numbers is people, but it's people in other forms. It's beings and intelligence in another form. So when you are seeing numbers, these are people or ancient ancestors telling you to honor them in these pairs. So if you see in the number 11, it's good to go to sleep with 11 pennies by your bed, 11 pillows. I'm just giving you an example. 11 pair of shoes by your bed, 11 hats. Everything in your house should go according to the ritual that the ancestors is trying to distribute to you to see through your subconscious. Now, if you are seeing the number 7, the number 7 means that this is your 7th gate. You should pay attention to everything in your dream world, because your dream world is your 7th gate. This is your completed intelligence. So that means 7 pennies, 7 anything. See, we look at numbers and we take it for granted, right? But when you look at numbers in a spiritual aspect, you can have certain things in your home that is unbalanced as far as numbers. You may have 2 pillows, 3 chairs, 2 spoons, 1 roll of toilet paper. That can be a spiritual number that is in opposition to your existence. So you could leave your house, get into a car, and go have an accident. All because the things that we didn't see that was spiritual, or the things that we didn't pay attention that was spiritual in our circumference in our home. This may sound a lot crazy, but it's only for people who can see beyond these 5 dimensions, because you have more than 5 dimensions. So when I was seeing number 11 last year, I know that the 11th dimension plane, or the 11th dimension system of the ancestors, was following me. It has a nucleus, and the nucleus that is in our mind is sort of like a projection screen. So they can actually put together certain patterns and blueprints and project images onto our brain to cause us to see certain things in the form of what we call holograms. And the things that is holograms is actually a holographic system being viewed through these satellites via these lower class neighborhoods, or what we call the projects. Now, if you are inside of a city, right, and you are seeing unidentified flying objects, and you live 1 city over from that city, the people that's inside of the city with the satellites are the only people that will be able to see these unidentified flying objects that is being projected as images from these anatomical modulating frequency satellites. Remember, we are biological computers. And because we are biological computers, they can update or distribute software into our brainwave frequency so that we can project these images and sounds right before our 2 physical eyes. The 2 physical eyes act as a television. Your 2 physical eyes act as a television. This is an illusion. This is why I tell people, why are you trying to find your history inside of the matrix when you are not an illusion? So basically, you are searching for a history that is part of an illusion. Your history goes beyond what we call the 3rd dimensional realm, or the 3rd dimensional plane. We have portals that we can go in and out of, that is in the actual jurisdiction of your dream world. And these gates is what they are using to tap into certain things to bring information from your past, present, and future, because believe it or not, you exist right now. If you having a dream that you are in the grocery store shopping for watermelon, then you are not, that's not you in the dream. That is the you that exists in the past or the future right now in another dimension that is shopping for a watermelon. Even when you have dreams of waking up inside of a room and everything looked the same, and then you're not really woke, but then you wake up again, right? You are actually in another dimension or another lifetime waking up. So the you that exists that did not really wake up, woke up before you actually woke up after that dream, if you get what I'm saying. So when we are studying these satellites in our community, these satellites can actually cause a whole city of people to experience unidentified flying objects on the screen in which we call the sky. Certain jurisdictions in certain cities have certain screens that is up in the sky, or what I call down there. I call down up and up down. But I'm going to use up for right now because a lot of people don't understand or understand what I'm saying. So most of the sky that you see is a screen. So they can project holographic images into the sky in the jurisdiction of the city where you are living. Do you get what I'm saying? So that city may see these UFOs or what you call UFOs, but the city next over from next to that city may not be able to see what that city is seeing because the brainwave frequencies from those towers is only projected or set up to touch the brainwave frequencies of those people who live in that city. Another thing as well, you have to remember that your subconscious is a gateway to other realms. So if you are adhering to certain things or hearing voices, you can actually stumble into other realms on accident when you have certain systems in your brain shut down and open up. And by you stumbling into these other dimensions and realms, you are able to see things that people next to you cannot see. So you might be in a room with somebody and you may experience a shadow or a figure standing in front of you, but the person in that same room won't see it. But the thing is, your brain, certain systems of your brain shut down. And the molecular structure of those cells will actually evolve into higher frequencies. So these frequencies are sending signals through your body to cause your body or to put pressure on your body to see these images. Does these images exist if you are stumbling into these images? Yes, they do. These dimensions exist. You have other realms inside of realms that exist at the same time that you exist. And you have other parts of you that exist in other realms at the same time and date that you exist. So it's time for us to get off of this trying to find where we come from in history type of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, because a lot of people still waking up. But we have this new energy that just came in. You have to understand that we have no excuse now to go beyond history. We cannot say that we are part of a history here, but we are the oldest in the form of energy because we are energy. Energy don't have history because they don't have a time. But since every time you come to this third dimension, you are put on a timeline. And every time you are put on a timeline, guess what? You have other energies within that timeline that can see over top of that timeline, fold in density, and control the people that is in that timeline. And there's not a lot of frequencies over top of that energy that's controlling those energies inside of that timeline. It's only 10% of energies inside of certain bodies that is controlling the energies in that timeline. Or you could put it this way: it's only a small group of people at the top, 10%, Rockefeller, Rothschild, and them. These energies are controlling other energies on the timeline through governments and laws. Energy can be shaped into laws. Energy can be shaped into politics. Energy can be shaped into economics. So he who controls the energy of these three things controls those three subjects. So this is why we have to learn how to control energy. And energy is emotion. So we can control our emotions. Every time we're looking at their lives on their television, then we project their reality to exist. And if we project their reality to exist, then we exist in their reality and we will be the ones controlled inside of their illusionary reality.